Alright everybody, this is going to be our introduction to our prototype game, Paradise Starliner. Right here I have everything set up to be in the game setup phase. We've got the good looking, extremely high quality printed out cards, as you can see. The also very extremely beautiful gaming pieces, our door indicators, and our modular rooms. We also have a very genius way of numbering the modular rooms right now. Other than that, we have the only die that you will need to start the game, a D10, and 2 D6s. And with that, we're going to get started on the game setup. The game setup begins with every player rolling 1 D6. You'll roll a dice, you'll record what you got, and the next player will roll. Keep doing that, nice, until everybody has rolled the dice, and whoever has the highest number, say I roll a 4 and everybody else rolls a 1, that person goes first. They also get to be kind of the director during the setup. Now, after we've decided who goes first, the second thing to do is pick your character piece. It starts with the person who got the highest on the dice, and then after that, everybody else takes a turn picking a piece until all players have it. You will leave the alien pieces alone for now. Those will be brought into the game later. After that is decided, there are 2 ways to pick characters. One, everybody goes in the clockwise fashion from player 1 onward until you have all picked a character. So player 1 will first pick their character, and then player 2, player 3, and player 4, player 5, player 6, and so on until you're either until everybody has characters or there are no more characters to pick from. Be sure to not include the alien card in this, as that is not a character you get to pick. The second way of choosing characters is taking all of the player cards, shuffling them, and then putting them face down, and every player will choose whatever is on the top as their card, and that is who they will be. And the second player will go in the same fashion until everybody has a character. The next thing we're going to go over is setting up the modular rooms on the board. They're marked with 1 through 9, so for now we are going to be using a D10 to decide which room goes where. Later we'll be updating to something that is more exact with the amount of rooms we have, but that's what we're using now. So for this part, you're going to need a D10 and the stack of rooms. What you're going to do is roll the D10, whatever it lands on, you will then put a room on there, and that's how it'll work. If, say, you roll and you land on 2 again, you will defer to the lowest number if there's already a room in place. And then you continue doing that until all of the rooms are set up. The only room that never moves is the escape pod. After the board set up, we will set up some minor things on the board, which is things like the objective cards, which go right here to the top of the central fin. And then here we have the item cards. Those are where those 2 decks go. They're also the only cards that really belong on the field. Other than that, we will also have a bag of... These are door indicators. Red means locked, green means open, and if we remove it from the board completely, it means the door is destroyed. The door indicators fit into the map like this, and they can be easily reversed by taking them out and putting them back in to indicate that the door is locked or open. Now you will just repeat this for every single door. The only door that does not change is this one. It cannot be unlocked until the last game. Now that all the doors are placed, it's time to choose a starting room. So, for simplicity's sake, I removed the starting rooms so you can see them all. We have 5 different starting rooms right now. The Asteroid Gifts, Supernova Spa, the Gamma Ray Cafe, the Loading Dock, and the Nebula VR Center. So there are 5 of those right now. For simplicity's sake, we are going to roll a D6 to pick one. Now that I've replaced all the starting board rooms, so you guys can see them on the board, we will roll a dice to pick one. They will be labeled with numbers when you can see them Unfortunately, right now we do not have any numbers on them, as you see, but there will be numbers on them eventually. I have them in my head, so we're going to just remember them that way. Here, rolled a 1, so that is the Gamma Ray Cafe. That is where all the players will start. Players will place their starting characters anywhere that they desire in the starting room to get the game going. There is no specific way to do it. Just in their turn order, they will place it down. They will begin. That'll get the game set to begin. There will only be one more thing to do. Next, we're going to decide the player's starting items. To do that, you're going to take the item deck. You're going to draw as many cards as one less than the amount of players playing. So right now we have 4 players playing, so we will draw 3. Then you will take the alien embryo card, put it in your hand too. Go ahead and shuffle that. Now this is paper, so you don't get to see me actually shuffle, but just imagine it. Then after that, you'll put it down on the board. And then players will pull the card according to their player turn until they all have the starting items. Now, whatever player gets the alien embryo card is going to have special instructions in a bit. To get the game started off, players will be pulling an objective card out of the objective deck. These cards will always be in the same order. It'll get the game started off. You can't really see on the card that I'm holding, but the objective card does tell you what to do, how hard it is to do it, how many times you think a success required, and what happens if you pass or fail these objectives. After you view the objective and place it back down on the top of its deck so you can continue to reference it, players will begin moving. The player can do one of 3 things on his turn. They can roll the 6-sided die to move, or they can spend one of 2 of their action points, which for my action points I will be using a D4 to keep track of. The game will actually include real counters, but we don't have those right now. So I will be using a D2. Anyway, they can move, they can play an item card, or they can use what is called an active ability on their player card. Unfortunately for the active ability, you have to have both of your active points to be able to use it. So if you use an item card, you can't use it. They will also be able to activate objectives. So let's say that this player is close to this door and they want to open it. They can use one of these points to roll the die and make the door check. All door checks start out with a difficulty of 4. So that means they have to roll a 4 or higher on the dice to make it. Now I rolled a 5, so I would be able to then open the door and continue into the room. The escape room only has 1 seat in it for 1 passenger, so only 1 person can make it out of here alive. The rest of the players, they're supposed to be working together until they get to a certain objective, which allows them to not have to work together anymore, and then it turns into a free fall to get into the escape pod. All of that doesn't really have too many mechanics to it. You just follow these objective cards and do as they tell you when they pull up, or you can totally neglect the objective cards and all the other players and fend for yourself. And that is about all of the player objective. Now we'll quickly go over some of the special things in the map. These right here are called item caches, as seen over here on the board. These other ones that look like this are called alien vents. The aliens can use the vents to travel around the map as long as they pass the required check to get through. The humans, all they have to do is pass over the item cache, and they will get to pull an item out of the item card deck. Now players can only hold 5 items at once, and they have to be able to have at least 1 ability point to use an item. Next, we will be going over the alien and how players become the alien. At the start of the game, one player always starts out with the alien embryo card. Now, when a player leaves whatever starting room you're in, say this is the starting room, and makes it into another room that is not an objective room. So as long as it's a room that isn't the engine bay or the engine room, the bridge, the med bay, or the escape pod, which you would win if you were in there anyway, so it couldn't be that one. You can go ahead and use your alien embryo, and it will transform you into an alien, removing the player piece and putting this here. That would mean that this room is now the alien spawn point, and as long as they have one alien in there, they can spawn more aliens with a dice check. Aliens have plenty of special abilities, but their main one is attacking other players. If they are close enough to another player, they can attack them. When initiating attack, players will both grab a d6, and then they will both roll it together to do an attack check. When two players are fighting, they both roll a d6, and whoever gets the higher number wins. If the same number is chosen, you re-roll. If the alien wins, the player takes 1 damage, and if the player wins, the player will pick up their dice and they'll roll again. This is called a fleeing dice, and they are allowed to move that many spaces away from the alien. It allows them to get away from the alien and make it so he can't just gang up on you or follow you around until you die. On top of that, if there is more than one alien by a door, they can sacrifice one of the aliens to destroy the door permanently. Now that door can't be locked or anything anymore. It is removed from the board and that door is stuck open. Alternatively, if players that are aliens are inside of objective points, they can again sacrifice an alien and damage the objective. It causes a failure point on there. And if the objective is damaged too many times, they either have to use a special character on the board, which is the mechanic, to repair the objectives, or that objective is lost permanently, and the players will have to continue the game with that objective's failure in play. Aliens don't only have one spawn point. They can also pick a room that is a non-objective room to infest for 3 turns, allowing them to spawn aliens in other rooms. How you spawn aliens is you roll a d6, and as long as you get a number higher than the amount of aliens you have on the board, you will spawn another alien. Now, once you reach the maximum amount of aliens, you will require to have 2 aliens in the room, and you can spawn an alien we call the Overmind. That one you have to roll a 6 on the dice to spawn, because he is different than regular aliens. He hits harder. That concludes the basics of this game. If you would like more, there's an in-depth description in the rulebook of every single mechanic that I did not touch or did not delve into. Thank you for watching my short tutorial.